to increase your results, you can really use technology to make your life easier. And it's all about that time management, the ability we have to spend time on other things. So please take advantage. We have a free consulting session. Just contact us at info@technologymilestones.com and we can tell you how that works. I've broken down how to increase results using technology into 5 primary areas. Kind of starting at the bottom, you have to be accountable for your time. And then you have to create processes that are repeatable. Managing information becomes an automated task. For example, from email, using rules to the collection and the way you consistently collect information and share information with others. So I'll show you how that works. And then, of course, being efficient, driving in task management. Where is all of your information going? What's the difference between information and data? Can I display it in Gantt charts, for example? Maybe I'm a project manager working on project-based information. And then how do I display that online? And then ultimately, the objective is to share this with others, whether directly or indirectly. Notice here on this drawing that a couple of the items have dollar symbols behind them. That represents that there's a cost associated with that technology. But in most cases, as you see, all of this is free. So let's go ahead and spend a few minutes here looking quickly at each one of these subcategories to help you be more efficient. So this is an example of Instagant. Now this is driving directly from Asana tasks, so you can produce Gantt type charts, which is very helpful. This is an example of Asana, which is a task manager. You can keep all of your tasks here. This actually works very well. One of the nice things about Asana is the ability to push your tasks directly from email, and then you can reassign them to any of these groups here and sections that you have set up. So very, very nice application for managing tasks. I've used both Evernote and OneNote, both great products. I'm an Evernote person. I've been with Evernote for many, many years, and I've gone to OneNote and come back to Evernote. It's got some nice features, but essentially I'm able to forward, as you can see here, forward email messages that I want to keep, make sure that I have, are keeping track of these email messages, and I can set them up into different notebooks, for example, and set tags up and do all kinds of things to this information so that I can quickly find the information when I need it. Remember, the key here is to find the information. So when you're moving information from email and collecting it perhaps on your Rocketbook or digital paper, your calendar doesn't really collect information, but these 2 areas where you're collecting information, right, taking notes in meetings, collecting email, those things are easily transformed into action items through your tasks and Evernote, which we've already looked at. And then, of course, Google Drive is another technology, or OneDrive, that can be used to share information over the cloud. So you can place all types of information within your Google Drive, as you know. One of the things that I really like about it is the sharing of information. For example, this folder here, notice here, it's very easy, by the way, to share this information. And usually I put a note in here with the URL that it's been shared as. But here I can share my resume, for example, and I have some podcasts on some of the experiences that I've had. All of this easily done and shared. Remember, I'm sharing information with others easily within Google Drive. Google Drive and OneDrive it doesn't force you to have people log in. You can just give open URLs to people, and in that you want to manage what information you have up there, but it's very, very simple. Wix and Sway. So Wix and Sway and Bitly. These are great ways to help others find information and display information about yourself. So here you can see I've typed in Bitly, B-I-T, right? So if I just type in bit, you can see here I've got several areas that I can go to. Here, These are just specific links within a website. I just wanted to shorten it so that it becomes easier. So Lush Visual, for example, is a very simple application. Now I happen to use Sway here, a free application, which we mentioned here as one of the ways to share information. But this essentially becomes a website. So using Bitly, I'm able to quickly and easily, I don't have to give out some weird URL to people. I can just give them a very simple URL and using Bitly, and that allows them to quickly go to the information that I want them to see. So that's using Sway and Bitly together. And then of course you have Wix. Now Wix is an application that is used to develop websites. So very simple, easy. You may look at this and say, wow, that's a lot of work. Really isn't that much. I mean, it takes some effort, right? But it's really not that bad to create this. For example, this is one that I've just recently added, Experience, where I tell stories about my experience. They're actually built on Amazon's 14 leadership principles. But here, creating this drop down where I can organize it, sort it, I can look through for different key phrases, all of that, very easy. I'm talking an hour to get this done. So leveraging this technology, very, very simple for online. So managing email is probably the number one challenge most people have. And this means that we're getting thousands of email from multiple email accounts in most cases. So for example, I have here the three primary that I have. My work one at TechnologyMilestones, MSN, and Gmail, all getting information from all types of sources. So, when you sign up for a new service or want to do something, you got to always put an email in. So, how are you managing that? Well, what happens is all this information does come in at a quick rate. But if you're using Outlook, which is part of Office 365, now there is a charge, I believe, to use Outlook locally. You can use an online version as well, but this one happens to be the offline, the one that you load on your desktop. We can establish rules. So this is the Quora Digest, which is great. It's fine, but I really don't want it on my environment all the time. So I'm going to set up a rule. So instead of just deleting it or throwing it over to archive, I'm going to take the time, just a minute, to create a rule. And just by creating this rule, I'm going to move this item into my archive folder. And so anytime that this comes in from Quora Digest, it's going to automatically move it into my archive section. And it's done. So now I don't have to rework that every single time. I'm just going to automatically move that data. And I can shift, as you see here, I can shift that into, these are job boards, for example, right? So here you get things that you've signed up for, and it's automatically coming into this area for your future, right? What I call future. So that's kind of how that works. Collection of information can be done easily. Now I happen to use, and I don't have an example I can show you, but I happen to use Rocketbook or the Sony Digital Paper. Rocketbooks are actually very inexpensive. The Sony Digital Paper can be expensive. Both of them accomplishing the same thing. How do I quickly take notes of things that I need to do? Now I'm going to show you two examples of how this works. Now, writing with a pen and paper, always the best thing to do in meetings, by the way, because people don't suspect that you're doing something else, right? When you're pulling out your phone, taking notes, it's fine, or your computer, people are always a little suspicious as to, are you really paying attention or not? This right here happens to just be my analysis of an RFI that I'm responding to. I'm reading through the RFI, I'm marking down kind of what architecturally needs to happen and how can we make this better and respond and win the business, right? And so you can see kind of my notes here. So this is one way of collecting information. Here, we're right here collecting information, and how we manage that information is vitally important. The other example here is just some meeting notes. Now you can't really, my handwriting may not be the best, but here, this is a meeting that I was in on just recently on the 14th, and we were talking about protecting children and things of that nature, and some training that's available, things like that, for volunteer efforts. So both of these examples of how to collect information efficiently. My son uses Rocketbook, for example, which is very nice. You can take the notes by hand, take a picture, and then that information gets stored either on your data or in Evernote, and then you can transform that data into tasks as well. Calendar sharing is very easily done with any of these applications. One of my favorites happens to be HubSpot. Now you can see here in HubSpot I have review my calendar. Now all I had to do to get this, by the way, was just sign up for a free HubSpot account, which is a CRM, by the way. And I'm going to go ahead and open that. Now as soon as I open it, you can put your own logo or something up here. But here you can easily find times to meet with me. So you can just go in here and set up whatever time you want, and immediately it'll schedule the time on my calendar. This is a huge time saver. And there are several technologies available in the marketplace that allow you to do this, Calendly being one. But HubSpot, it's free. It works great every time, and it schedules time on my calendar. So I don't have to go back and forth with people. Hey, can you set up a meeting here? Can you set up a meeting? Does that time work? Just give them access to your calendar. Let them pick a time. Illustration, and I use the Adobe suite. Now, one thing about the Adobe suite is I can make it repeatable. For me, it's all about do once, use many times. So here on the screen, you can see the drawing that we're actually speaking from right now, which is this drawing, right? This is all done in Adobe's Illustrator. But here, what's cool about this is not only the layering, which gives me a lot of flexibility in the way things are created, but the library. So here I have created this huge library of information, 266 meg. And what's nice about this is this library of images, and you can see these blue images are the way I went with this one, but I can pick from any of them. For example, I can just search for people, and my people come up. I can search for, whatever I want, TechnologyMilestones logo, whatever I want, it all kind of comes up. I have these standard templates that I use for text. Everything is extremely standardized. Now, I know you're asking yourself, well, geez, that takes a lot of time to build. Yeah, it does take a little bit of time, but it's really not that bad because I build it one piece at a time. So over the course of years, I've just gone ahead and built up this so that I can easily access it and use it. And then I label it when I'm sitting on a conference call or something and the call's not ready yet. I take a second and I label one. So it's just something that I do. So that's something that you can use as well. The Adobe Cloud. Now I just showed you one of the things in Adobe Cloud. There are lots and lots of items in Adobe. Recording voice and video, my favorite is, although Adobe does tend to be a little pricey, Camtasia and Jing. Camtasia also has a reusable library like in Illustrator, so I use that, or in Adobe products. By the way, I just showed you Adobe Illustrator. Reusing that library is available on all of the Adobe Creative Cloud products. So if I go into InDesign, my library is there as well. So it works real nice. And then Camtasia has a similar feature. It has a library that you build up. Camtasia is for recording videos like this. I'm using Camtasia right now, actually. This happens to be the Camtasia recorder that I'm using. And then Jing is a free version, basically, of Camtasia. So, but it has some limitations on it. So again, building repeatable processes here, just as a couple of them, that enable this to occur, right? And then probably the most forgotten function is accountability. Accountability on how we use our time. Now I happen to use Harvest, which does have a fee associated with it. I think they have a free version. And then Toggle. Both of these are great time managers. Now for me, with Harvest, I use it because it links directly to my Asana account. So here's an example. I'm completing this RFI here, and writing this information. And here I can just click on this little clock here, and Harvest pulls up. Now within Harvest, I can bill this out. So here I'm billing it as billable time for design so that I can keep track of, what time I spend on certain projects. And I'm going to select the VA as this project. And then I just simply click on Start Timer. And now it's tracking the time that I'm using here. So now I have a full accountability of that time. I can click here and remove that as well and stop the timer if I choose. So great way to kind of keep track of everything that's going on. Well, this video is longer than most of my videos, but I thought it was helpful to kind of explain everything that's going on in order to support and drive efficiency into your life. And technology is there to help you. All of these, although they may require a little upfront investment of time, you can build over the course of time. So don't feel like you have to get up to speed and have everything in there all at once. Just have some discipline and use them regularly. And I guarantee you that you will be able to accomplish more, spend more time with your loved ones, and more time to relax.